No one told you? That's amazing.
The show is more than just a show. It's something we've been a part of for years.
We're family.
It is like your family. When you're around them all the time, no one seems to have changed.
Getting to 100 episodes is just an amazing feeling. It's what you always set out to do. It's kind of like the standard, what you're striving for, and it's really hard to do.
I can't even believe that it's been 5 years.
I was 20. We shot the pilot. I turned 21, just moved to New York City. Not a bad time to turn 21 and move to the city. It literally feels like it has flown by. So 5 years, here we are, 100 episodes. It's incredible. We're still going strong.
Wow, that was half of my 20s. And that's really what it was. Like half of my 20s, that's crazy.
It's happened so fast, it just seems like we came here yesterday.
Stephanie Savage asked me to come to her office at Warner Brothers 5 years ago. She said, no, I want you to watch this pilot and then call me tonight and tell me what you think. So I took home the pilot, and I watched it, and I thought, wow.
Making the pilot was a really special experience, and you got a sense that something special was going on.
The thing about the pilot was that it was a serious, intense drama. There were rapes, heavy sex scenes, a lot of drugs and alcohol.
It's the birth, it's when you're sort of discovering everything. Everything's new and exciting.
Part of what we were doing is contrasting youth and innocence with this very heightened quality of life in which dangerous things happen.
I think the thing that fans love so much about the show is a combination of the characters and then the world of the show.
The show was very much about, from the very beginning, the opening shot is somebody returning to a world they left behind. There's not only what's it going to be like now when you walk back in after being gone, but there's also why you left and what led up to you leaving.
Then what sort of evolves naturally out of, finding the costume and sort of connecting with the other characters and realizing what your relationship is with these different people, your character evolves.
And we constantly are pulling, whether it's something like what happened between Blair's parents when they got divorced, which you hear about in episode 3 of season 1, and then you, through the course of the seasons, have met her father, have met her father's partner.
We're constantly examining our choices to make sure that we are remaining true to the Gossip Girl ideal.
The bond between the core cast members on the show is the bond between the characters. They have that bond off-screen as well as on-screen, and that, I think, is one of the biggest reasons we've made it to 100 episodes, is that these people are friends and family in real life and on-screen.
It's hard to pick just one storyline over 5 seasons. Certainly, the pilot storyline, the Dan and Serena story, will always be really close to my heart, and that's sort of what we built the series around, this kind of Romeo and Juliet relationship between these two kids.
There's really been nobody else for Serena or for Dan, perhaps, and I love the mixing of socioeconomic strata in that relationship.
I'm really happy to be here with you.
Chuck and Blair, of course, is a huge storyline for us and something that was a little bit surprising. They have no relationship in the book whatsoever, so that was really something that's kind of unique to the series. And I think a lot grew out of Leighton and Ed's chemistry with each other and just the fun of writing scenes with those two characters.
I can't tell you how glad I am at this moment that Diana isn't really my mother.
Hand me the book. It's one of those classic, epic love stories, and you don't come upon those often, either in movies or television, where the audience is so committed to their relationship.
We were terrified. That episode where they get together and have sex in the limo was a very early episode, and it was violating a lot of sort of the mythology of the books. So it was a big risk to go there.
I feel very close to the season 2 arc of Chuck and Blair and Chuck not being able to say I love you. It was hard for me to write those episodes without getting emotional. At the time, and it actually still feels like sort of the biggest thing that you could do. Like Chuck really had to find that in himself, and that was a hurdle that lasted 25 episodes. And I wrote the first one where he wouldn't say it, and I wrote the last one of that season where he finally said it.
I love you too.
And that whole arc was sort of the most meaningful to me.
The storyline for me was when our band got back together.
Yeah, it was like that moment we finally realized.
She looks up at me and I'm back on stage, and it's like we're teenagers again. It's the reprise of our youth.
It was good.
And I'm back on stage going, every time you
looked
walk
really
away,
hot,
run away.
too, up there. It was good.
Come back to me.
They really are like a married couple now at this point. It's really great and fun to watch them.
He has an answer for all your questions. You don't even need to ask the questions. He'll just answer. No, come on. What are you? Don't look at your cheat sheet. What are you doing? This is supposed to be spontaneous.
It is spontaneous.
Even you're taking all the excitement out of it.
For you, this is exciting for me.
Exactly. I like it a little more spontaneous.
Married couple. Married couple. All right.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
I think a lot of my comedic moments revolve around Dorota, who is my family's housekeeper. In real life, her name is Dorota, and it is who she's based on. So Dorota's ringtone being "I'm a slave for you," also in season 2 for when Eleanor called her. I always think about sort of those moments, because, you know, she is the comic relief character.
All right, go make tuna melts for both of you.
Do you have a favorite line of dialogue? I'm Chuck Bass.
Yes, that is me.
Yeah.
I'm Chuck Bass. I'm Chuck Bass.
He's Chuck Bass.
The favorite line is this. I walked into one of the apartment sets, and it's this young girl, and she says to me, "Oh my God, Chuck Bass, you're like the devil." And Chuck replies,
Finally, some truth in advertising.
My favorite fight was when the girls were applying to college and both Serena and Blair went to a party at the dean's house.
Shut up! You shut up!
And they just had so much fun doing it. They really went for each other, and it was just hysterically funny.
I think about Serena and Blair laughing and taking pictures of themselves in season 1 as best friends.
My favorite location for a long time really was the Palace Hotel, because we shot there for quite a lot in our first 3 seasons.
New York is such an amazing character. It is, of course, one of the biggest characters of the show, one of the leads, we'd like to say. And finding new places to go to, or the old places that are so hot, is a really fun thing.
When we first shot in New York, no locations would have us. Everybody's like, what's the show? Except for the Palace Hotel.
Except for the Palace
They accepted us
Hotel.
early and had to earn it. We had to earn New York's love.
Yeah. We shot operas and ballets and hotels and concert halls and like anywhere you can think of in New York. I'm always walking down the street like, oh, I want to shop there. Wait, we've shot there.
The steps of the mat are very special to us. That sort of was one of our first high school touchstones. Grand Central Station. I love all of, like the big
Iconic New York.
Yeah.
That's where you kind of pinch yourself.
See, I love shooting in Paris, so that was my favorite. We got to shoot outside Chanel in Paris. I mean, that was pretty incredible. Karl Lagerfeld came by and visited. That's just like, that's it.
there was one scene where me and Ed shot, right? We're in a fight from the first season. I don't know.
Did you sleep with her, huh?
But there was about 300 teenage girls and their mothers sort of quarantined off to the side. Every time they yelled cut, they would all just freak out and cheer. It was like theater. And that kind of sticks out in my mind as a point of no return, I guess.
The Gossip Girl wouldn't even be what it was without sort of the look and the feel, and that is very, very much driven by the crew. I mean, they work so hard. They can make a church on the Upper East Side look like a royal wedding. They can make a dingy club downtown look like the chicest, hottest club you've ever been to.
It's one thing when you're doing a pilot and you're creating a template and everyone kind of like digs deep and brings their best ideas, but to keep doing that every episode for years and years in a series is really hard to do. Blair's wedding is probably the epitome of that. It's like our third wedding or fourth wedding on the show, and they still managed to make it. Just feel incredibly special and new, and every detail really, really thought through.
We've done weddings before and big events before, but this surpasses all of them in terms of the level of production value, the nature of the locations, the budget, the clothes, the dress.
The church looks incredible, St. James Church. They did a special runner for the aisle that had the BL, the Blair and Louis sort of logo woven into it. The dresses were amazing. Vera Wang did not one, but 2 dresses, especially for Blair.
When we were shooting it, it was very, very emotional.
We're walking down the aisle, we come down, and there's Margaret dissolved in tears like it's a real wedding. And she starts to make me cry.
Because it seemed real. The church was full, the music was playing, he's walking down the aisle.
I'm proud of a lot of the scenes that we've done, and in fact, something that we talk about for each episode is kind of like, in this episode, what's that iconic scene? What's the scene that's like the one sheet that's the poster for the episode? But probably for me, Chuck and Blair's scene in Gare du Nord in the Paris episodes is one of my favorite scenes ever. I just thought it was, I might get a little emotional talking about it.
Knowing that I wanted Blair to run off with Chuck, like I was on Chuck's side in that episode, that was hard. To sort of want one thing as a audience member who loves the show and know that we need to do another thing because Blair, that's what Blair was feeling.
It was just so beautiful. The visual of her in her orangey red gown with her incredible jewels that we literally had a man from Harry Winston and he had a German Shepherd with him keeping an eye on those jewels at Gare du Nord. And the image of them with the train station in the background as Chuck is about to leave forever and sort of turn his back on his identity. For me, that's everything of the show. That's the fashion, the emotion, the long-term character arcs, the romance, the friendship, because I ultimately do think that that was the big thing that came across in that scene. It wasn't about, did Blair think that she and Chuck were going to end up together? It was just wanting him to come back to be in her world.
Your world would be easier if I didn't come back.
That's true. But it wouldn't be my world without you in it.
We definitely have some ideas about how the series is going to end. I think it's hard to write these characters if you don't have that sense of end game of like where you think everyone should end up. But you also want to be able to be surprised.
One of the things also about the show, because the characters are growing, what they want grows and changes as well. So in a weird way, even if I thought that I had some idea of how I wished that it would end, I think that has changed over time.
Each and every one of the actors on the show has grown immeasurably during the course of making the show. But to be thrust into the limelight in the way that they were and being given the responsibility to portray these characters day after day, week after week, you know, it's a lot of responsibility. They've really maintained their good-heartedness and have been caring towards the crew, and I really feel like we've been very lucky.
It's been great. I'm sure the cast will tell you that it's kind of like going to college. You know, it's that feeling of like you're with people for 5 years. It's a really hard job.
Everyone feels like a family member, and it's wonderful that we've had all these experiences together, but I hope it lasts longer.
It's just been an amazing experience to sort of watch these actors become huge stars, be able to work with this incredible crew.
What I love to tell people that ask me about the show is that all the cast members are exactly how you hope they are.
And the fans have really kept us afloat, and that means they've kept us afloat, they've kept me personally afloat and living in New York City and happy, so nothing but the most genuine gratitude. Thanks.
The word Gossip Girl is a lot more than a show. It's a lot more than 100 episodes. The word Gossip Girl is just a thing and a phenomenon unto itself.
I'm so grateful to be able to work with this team and to know these actors and the writers and everyone in New York, but also to really, really fall in love with the characters and feel like this world is real. That's what it means to, I think, create something, when you feel like it's kind of got a life outside you.
Congratulations, high five.
Mwah.